What is up, everyone? It's Joe from Get Good Drums here with another FAQ video. It's been a while since I've done one, so I thought I would do one now. I did post a question up in the forum, which you can go and find at facebook.com/groups/GGD forum, asking for questions maybe a month ago, maybe a bit more. But it just turned into everyone asking about future products, and I can't talk about that. Can I? No. So I put up another one saying, ask questions, but no questions about future products. And the response was great. So we're going to go through them today, answer them one by one, the ones that I can anyway. If your question wasn't picked, it's because I couldn't answer it for one reason or another. But let's get going. The first one is from Chris Twice. I'm going to get your names wrong, I'm sorry. Would be cool to see how the kit is sampled with mic setup, the player, etc. Yeah, it would. This is actually something I really want to make when we are doing future libraries. I'd love to try and sort of capture a behind the scenes look at it. It would be hard to do that for a couple of reasons. The first one is like sampling kits is pretty boring and it's even more boring to watch. But I think there could be some value in showing how we do it and the sort of setups that we use when we do. So I agree with you, and I hope to make one in the future. Next question. Why does M&M, Modern Massive, sometimes trigger double hits on the shells? That's from Adam Protzman. It doesn't. I've never heard of that happening, and I've never experienced it. It shouldn't be happening. There's a couple reasons I can think why that might be happening. Maybe your CPU usage, maybe a couple other things within Contact. I'd advise hitting up our support team at hello@getgooddrums.com, and I'm sure they'll be able to fix that for you. Ethan Hesselschrott. I've been wondering if the CPU scaling feature in One Kit Wonder has any effect on the quality of the mixdown. No, not the quality. It depends how you define quality. What the scaling does is the highest scaling is the fully fledged experience of our One Kit Wonders. So all the sample layers and round robins and sample numbers with the parallel processing. So that's the parallel and the reverb processing. The medium one limits some of the sample numbers, and the low turns off the processing on the parallel and reverb bus. The next question is from Tyler Joe Connett. I got a question about the process of actually taking the recordings and putting them into Contact. I've been diving into the settings page to try and get a bit of a sense of how it's all put together, pulling out samples to use as one-shots, etc. But there must be hundreds of samples here. Do the guys just sit there loading these manually, or is there a process to speed this up? It must take absolutely forever. I don't have much experience with this, so I can't give you a really in-depth answer. But yes, it takes a long, long time. Not only does the recording and engineering take a long time, the editing is a pretty monumental and huge task to undertake. There are some processes in the editing stage that you can use to speed it up, like trimming silence and stuff, but a lot of that then has to be re-looked at manually. So yeah, it's a long, long, long process. Bob Warren, when will there be merch available for us to buy? I need a GGD hoodie. Yeah, this is something we've thought about doing. It hasn't made enough sense to us to do it yet, but it's something we kind of think about every so often. I'd love it. All the guys would like it, but it's just a matter of when it would be right to do it. Nick Capone. Why Contact Player and not a standalone plugin? Good question. I think it's a valid question. One that we've answered in the past, but I'll answer again. So when GGD started, it was just one product, the Matt Halpern signature pack. No one really knew if it was going to be a success, if people would like it. It turns out people loved it, which is great. But when starting to create a standalone plugin, you also have to create the structure and, the shell around it. And for a new company to start and do something like that is a huge investment. Making a Contact library is an investment alone, but to then create a standalone plugin around it and create the architecture and the shell, that's a lot of money up front. So when GGD started, I wasn't a part of the company then, but from my understanding, we opted to use Contact. Loads of people use it. You know, it's not without its quirks and issues, but no program is. And you can use it, you know, with the free Contact player or the Contact Full. This keeps the cost down considerably. Angel C. Ito says, I'd really love to know the main velocity values in an Invasion sample pack. On stack, 98 sounds fuller to me, but putting it to 100 gives more attack. I say this because in Hellpunk kit, you don't even have to reach 100 in order to sound like the record. And it's different on each library. Cheers. So there's a couple of different reasons why this is the case. The sort of velocity layers are made in which they don't translate exactly across all the libraries. So, you know, 98 in Modern and Massive might be a slightly different velocity to 98 in the P4 kit, for example. That's one reason why you may be seeing what you're seeing, but also each drum skin, wood type, cymbal size, cymbal thickness, cymbal metal makeup, it all reacts differently. And this is one of the reasons we emphasize a lot with our libraries, is that you don't want to trigger everything at 127 velocity, because those hits are, you know, Matt getting his bum off the seat and hitting a drum. You know, those are crazy hard. And often when you get to that level of velocity, things can sometimes start to choke out. So with cymbals, the impact is so much that it actually kind of cuts some of the resonances, and you get a much more pleasant, sustained and full sound doing a slightly lower velocity. What you're talking about there is exactly that. 98 sounds fuller to me, but putting it to 100 gives more attack. So 98 will be the velocity layer below 100. So you might get a fuller sound, and then 100 will be a harder hit, give more attack, but then it might choke the cymbal somewhat. So, I mean, no cymbal being a piece of metal is perfect. So you kind of have to do it by ear and see which you prefer. Next question is from Andre Martinez. GGD as a whole has established themselves with a sort of sonic signature. I see a lot of people talking about how they avoid your products because they don't want to sound like everyone else. While I personally think GGD sounds is gold, my question is, do you know why, how that is? And would there be interest in creating different types of sounds? Well, firstly, thank you, because when people say I don't want to sound like everyone else, I guess that means that we've got a successful product, which is really cool. But yeah, I mean, GGD does have a sonic signature for a lot of our libraries, but that's because Nolly made them, or at least engineered, chose the drums and tuned the drums, mic'd them up, etc. So, you know, he's dialed in his process of recording drums and his sound that people have come to know him for over many, many years, and he's distilled that into these products, which is what makes our products unique. And that will give it a sonic signature. But yes, of course, we want to diversify and create different sounds, which is why we did the classic rot and dry and funky kit. You know, those were made by Peter Miles. And as a result, they do sound a bit different to the rest of our libraries. But I mean, even with this sonic signature, to say that it's going to sound like everyone else is kind of BS, because you can process these kits however you like. And from all the demos we put out from our community and us ourselves, you can hear that, how drastically different these drums can sound and all the kind of different contexts you can use them in. Chris Manguiob. Why does some velocities seem to mess up when rendered? In the DAW, my ride bell sounds fine, but when I export it, the velocities seem to jump around. That's something I've never encountered, and I haven't seen reported, I don't think. But again, hit up hello@getgoodrums.com. It sounds like something to do with some kind of sample limit, maybe. But yeah, hit up our support and they'll be able to help you out. Nathaniel Dickey III asks, where do you guys record each of the kits? Also, what's your personal favorite of the kits? So, the kits have been recorded in different places. Let me make sure I get this right. So the original Matt Halpern Signature Pack and the P4 Matt Halpern Signature Pack were recorded in Magpie Cage Studios in Baltimore. Modern and Massive, Invasion, Classic Rock, Dry and Funky were recorded in Middle Farm Studios. But Modern Fusion, Aggressive Rock, and Metal, One Kit Wonder libraries were recorded at Nolly's studio. Yeah, I think that's all of them. Don't think I've forgotten one. And what is my personal favorite of the kits? It tends to be whatever's the most recent, but at the moment I'm really loving the Architects kit for demoing. It is kind of the sounds that I normally gravitate towards, and I love it. But it changes for like every sort of project that I work on, depending on what I think suits it best. Marcos Daniel Rodriguez Oliveres. Damn it. I think I did that well until the last one. I know if you turn off the master EQ and the parallel compression are no longer... But is there any way by tweaking the contact processing to get totally samples raw? Not with the One Kit Wonder libraries, because these samples are processed before they are put into Kontakt. We do that because it's going to keep your CPU usage down like a ton, and they're going to sound better because the processing in Kontakt is more limited than what Nolly uses in his normal mixing sessions. So yeah, Nolly mixes the samples in his DAW of choice, which is Logic. As he would for a normal record, they get bounced down and then put into Kontakt. So no, you can't. Stephen Weinhold, what GGD product are you currently using the most? It changes, man. It really depends on what kind of content I'm producing, what demos I'm working on personally. At the moment, I'm writing a sort of hardcore mix walkthrough, which I'm going to use Mono Massive for. I'm writing a personal song of mine, which I'm using the Architects library for. I just finished a single, which is coming out soon, which uses Invasion. I'm always using Kali and Zilla for my guitars, and of course Smash and Grab if I'm ever mixing anything. But I'll just pick and choose from what I want stuff to sound like, which is one of the great benefits of working for the company, is I have all these amazing tools at my disposal, and I'm very fortunate to have that. Tommy Burns, how many velocities and round robins are there in the libraries? Might be asked and answered, but I haven't been able to find it. It changes between the libraries slightly, and even between like the kit pieces. Some pieces are, especially in the cymbals, just able to capture more velocities than others, perhaps, just from the way they're built. But yeah, the answer is it changes, and it would take too long to walk you through all the kits, I'm afraid. Gavin Sherry asks, a better tutorial about routing the drums. Thanks for the question, Gavin. To be honest, we've got lots of tutorials about routing drums on our YouTube page, and we can't do another one which explains it better because we have explained them as well as one can. So I'd advise just checking out YouTube and checking out the variety of different tutorials we have. Even if those tutorials now have an older version of Kontakt, the process to routing them hasn't changed at all. Travo Burkett, why not include a flam in the One Kit Wonder Classic Rock Kit? So we cut down the articulations in the One Kit Wonder libraries to be able to keep the library smaller, so the CPU cost on your computer is far less. We think flams are easy enough to program, so we decided to take it out. The thing about flam articulations as well is that you want them to be in time with the song. If you're doing a really fast song and you want to use the flam articulation, it might be too slow. So we advise just programming it yourself. I've actually made a tutorial recently, which is up on our YouTube channel and on our blog on our website, showing you how to program flams. So I'd advise checking that out. Benyat Aguirre, a tutorial on how Misha's mix his franking kit, please. Keep an eye out. We might have something like that coming soon. Well, guys, I think there were some good questions in that. More than I realized we had to answer. As I said, if I didn't answer your question, it's because I couldn't for one reason or another. But they may be answered in a future video, so keep an eye out for that. But thanks for stopping by. If you want to check out our other videos and the other FAQ videos I've done, in case there's a question that has wandered into your mind which you want to know, well, it might have been answered already in the previous video, so go and check those out. And, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time. Much love.